Peace. All right. Okay, I've been here for a while. I just couldn't get this camera to go until now. But yeah. I'm gonna wait till some people get in here. There's so much to say, and then when the camera is on, it feels overwhelming to just be confessing this to myself. Peace, God. But I learned a couple of things about longevity. It's how we see this. You know, when someone walks into the classroom, right? So people see some of the classroom. When someone walks into my classroom, when it happens, the first thing I tell them what to expect. I tell them what this nation is, so that way, if they make their own decisions, they can not deal with it. They have the choice at all times, and so this is real. And I'm gonna tell you this: like, one of the most important things is in this aspect is what I have noticed is that over time we see it more and more. People deal with this knowledge, but then they don't deal with it anymore, and they never showed and proved that the black man is God. They never even came close to proving that the white man wasn't made to be the devil. They certainly didn't prove that the earth was flat. They certainly didn't prove that the 17 million here in the wilderness of North America is different genetically, significantly, on all levels, on any level, than any of the other 4,400,000,000. Other than that, they were the ones that were best prepped to receive this knowledge now. That's a fact. That's a fact. Right? So, I just find it really mind-blowing what has happened over the week. I missed last week's class because and that was all in the service of my daughter. There was something she needed me to do, to add on and help, and that was more important than anything else. And so I did that, achieved that, and so we missed that session. But what's interesting is that I had put up a post on, I think it's on the 25th. I think it was right? And I put it on Instagram, Facebook. It's about hip hop, origins of hip hop, and I got a lot of vitriol. I got a lot of hatred, a lot of condescending statements, a lot of put me in. Let me put you in your place, Sunez. A lot of condescending. Hey, I always saw you as a builder. It's so disappointing that you have these thoughts. And the majority of these people claim to be 5%. I see 5%ers say Lord Jamal is correct on this and incorrect on that. So liars, people who do devilishment, people who are completely wrong about issues that are basic, happen to be right about other issues. Ladies and gentlemen, people refuse to ask for my resources, references, research. Not one person asks for them. If I gave some of them, they were dismissed immediately. As the discourses became longer and these people that I know, I kept the respectful discourse and decided, well, you know what? Maybe they don't know what I know. And they were coming from a defensive position. Let me give them that. Some of the resources, some of the references. Oh, it doesn't matter. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me when I told family members that I have research that shows that the victory Allah unknown, right? The shot has research that shows that hasn't been properly tested. A refusal to release the ingredients, given emergency authorization by defaming hydroxychloroquine and other things that heal. And they said, I don't care about any of that stuff. I don't want to see any of that stupid research. That's the 85 talk. 85 talk to me like that. I get frustrated. I'm trying. I'm really trying. It's important. And that's what it was. So it's okay, right? It's the 85. This is the 5%. I got a whole post that people want to see. What does not doing the knowledge look like? What is bold declarations? What is anecdotal affirming without cross-referencing do? See, if I said I learned Kung Fu with the gods, that would be anecdotal, and it doesn't have all the details. I tell you how I learned, it absolutely would be different than anyone. If I said so, it'd be different. But even the scholar wouldn't be using more than just me to prove that it was different the way we each learned. He would have to ask, how was it different? Was it really different? Or was it my perception that it was different because it seemed harder or easier for me? Or both, in unique ways. Did I receive the experience differently? Can it be confirmed? So even my true anecdotal experience needs to be cross-referenced with other experiences. All people hit me with was I was there. You know what's funny? This is a hip-hop thing. People tell me that they was there. And the reason that I don't care is because if you told me you was doing whatever out there, then I have to tell you, well, what significance did you add on to it? You weren't a major creator. Are you a major creator? What major creators were you with? People want to tell me that they were there, but they weren't around anybody that was significant that they can call upon in this anecdotal memories. I got told by 5%ers, the 5% made a mistake, and that's why I don't deal with it anymore. I'm quoting people that I knew forever with this knowledge. People that I knew forever saying the 5% was wrong with all this kumbaya. Kumbaya meaning black, brown. For them, the black man is not the black and the brown germ. It's wrong because we are not the same. You know how many 5%ers were telling me this, though? How many told me in no shorter words on there, we are not the same. I had one Earth there that was there for a long time, probably Earth longer than me, belittling the experience of not just me, but Puerto Ricans in general. Someone told me they had, I'm only talking about 5%ers, people that come in the name. Show me a bodega that played hip hop. Where were you? Show me a record store that sold hip hop only, predominantly. I've been to record stores all over the city throughout the 80s and 90s. Black record stores, brown record stores, white record stores. They didn't even like having hip hop in there. Had nothing to do with them liking the music. It's the clientele it would bring. The people that wanted the records. They didn't want that kind of clientele in there. That had nothing to do with black, brown, white. I've never received this much racism and this much willing racism that was willing to denounce what Allah taught. And when I say taught, showed and proved to our firstborn, to them, their first fruit, and then to me. Just shocking. Shocking. Pathetic. And people getting mad because they can't railroad me. I'm going to be here till 8 o'clock. We'll get into all of this. We'll get into other stuff. We're going to continually plan throughout the weeks how we build, make our goals. People had achievements last year. I missed last week's class, but I would love to hear them. Let to warm up a little bit. You know, Matt Esteves, peace. You said you've been checking out your stuff since you did some work with Dr. Colon. Just learned all the stuff you've been up to, including the journalism, the school, and the music. Loving this stuff, man. Thank you. Thank you. Peace to self I build. Peace, God. Do I think it's intentional revamping of history? By certain people, it's a simplification. I think Dr. Colon had the best example. He had the example of the new 668 movie about the black female regiment. That regiment had about 800 soldiers. About 100 were Puerto Rican. But it got sold, the movie that is, sold as a true story about an African-American regiment, African-American woman regiment. It's such a good example of how we're involved in things, but it's hard to market the complexity, the beautiful complexity, diversity, reality of the black diaspora. You sell black, but not the diaspora. Everything that you sell is simplified. You sell music, but not the depth of it. Not the music that crosses genres, that blends genres. Pick a genre, throw it in there, and then it's out. I made all of these points. I made all of these points clear, and they still got thrown away. Never debunked. Never debunked. I see people share me. Crazy Legs said he didn't want to do hip hop because when he first saw breaking, because he first saw breaking, his brother doing it earlier. Peace, guys. And it was look crazy, humiliating to the family. What's new? What's new? That's with most of the arts throughout the world and cultures, not just hip hop. But today I care more about doing the knowledge. What's a reference? What's a source? How do you show and prove anecdotal evidence? Because that's all I got was people's opinions. I think it's a revamping of history that is natural to the way that things are marketed. And to, I tell people, this guy says, guy's autobiography is labeled The Race Baiter. Everybody look that up. Go to Amazon, right? Look up Tariq Nasheed's autobiography. And the title of the book is called Race Baiter. They tell you straight up. Self-I Bill, you said it's unfortunate many people falling for the divisiveness via these internet online tactics. Don't believe that. Matt, you said word. I seen that trend. I'm mad new to all this, so that was shocking to me for sure. Raz, peace, God. Peace to the God. There's really nothing else to say unless I start proving stuff, and I don't want to do that. I find it funny that just an articulate commentary, and this is not even has been my focus of my research all these years. That hasn't even been my focus in hip hop. It's more of a requisite. Things you study on the side, and all the people that were there. To debunk something, you want to get the people and cross-reference. You know what I mean? Someone claims something. This doesn't matter, whatever it is. You want to say, well, if you're the first, what is the difference between first, who is not first, and who is a pioneer, right? Who is first and is not really a creator? These are all things that you have to be. If someone says that they were the first, then what did they innovate? Styles, moves, thoughts, ideas. Like, for example, someone was dismissing Bambaataa, not on this pedophile thing. We could dismiss him as a human for that, but dismissing him because his DJ work wasn't really up to par. I doubt this person even saw him DJ. But that's poor research. That's not the reason why he's even lauded. He's lauded for the acumen of put all of these elements in name and in relevance and in potency as a unified force. And if that is relevant to the history, that this thing doesn't continue unless people are unified, then you have to look back. Well, what set up the stages for him to be able to unify that stuff? And then you go back into, again, documentary I gave as a resource. Nobody watched it, clearly. The Rubble Kings, right? Which is the easiest way. But it's funny because when it comes to the history of the Bronx, Puerto Rican and Black American involvement, make it more peaceful. It was around people that was around those times that were in those meetings, that were invited to those meetings to heal the issues between the Black and the brown gangs. This all precedes hip hop. And Bambaataa doesn't get to make a step that way if they don't do something major. And they did. They did something major. They took greater steps toward peace. I saw people that don't deal with this knowledge anymore because it's kumbaya. If they said, I'm kumbaya. Yep, I'm gonna tell you off air.
Kumbaya.
I'm kumbaya. I'm too kumbaya. This unity between the Black and brown is bullshit. And as soon as you're down, but we are not the same. That's what I got from a 5%er. God, somebody that knowledge 120.
Yeah, I bet that person doesn't have that black seed, brown seed, yellow seed. Then they probably don't.
That's right.
They probably don't even know that science.
That's right. You know who I'm talking about too when I tell you. But it's like this, and then I say you trust people that are off point with everything, saying that the earth is flat and that starts zero. And he goes, no, I don't. I don't listen to Tariq Nasheed or anybody. I listen to Dane Calloway. So they named me a different grifter that teaches the same bullshit. So now they're deriding us because we're not black enough. But they're telling us that they're indigenous American. I thought that was me. They're telling me, God, that the Olmecs are not migrate, even though they were showing proving the headdresses to have the leather helmets of the Kemet army. But they're originally and came up and popped up in North America. And they never came from Africa. They got no Africa. They use books like Jack D. Forbes. They don't even know that Jack D. Forbes wasn't white. He was a Native American. They quote parts of his African Americans and Native Americans book that shows constant. It's really not a fun read. It's really just a listing, really, of constant documentation of how slavery was dealt with and how they judged and drew up how they would describe, say, the shades of slaves during the times when they weren't allowed to have Native Americans. Then they would label Native Americans black, and vice versa. They picked the page that says these blacks were being labeled Native American and said, "Let's see, we're Native Americans." They saw us as just the Native Americans. But there's other pages in that book, God, that do the opposite.
So like when they use the Father's Bill tape to say that's the end all
be all, and the book itself shows a fluctuation, not a consistency. And the major truth is that the original man was being mixed and that they did engage and blend into the Native American tribes. But that doesn't mean that there's no original people here that aren't directly from Africa during that slave trade. But this is the kind of non-scholarship I gotta listen to for people to tell me that we are not the same. God, I didn't get this bullshit from anybody that was 85. This whole week, I got shit from people that claim to be 5%. People laughing, oh, Puerto Ricans, y'all ain't do nothing. Puerto Ricans, y'all just play that music that just has this and that, but y'all don't know. I got people telling me, oh, why do you say Latin percussion? Y'all got that from Africa, not knowing that the drums were changed. Conga drums aren't played the same. They're played different. Telling me about the timbales. Timbales are not an African invention. They're from Cuba. Everybody's got their mouth open, God, and they don't know shit about music. They don't know shit about the fucking boroughs. And whatever happened in their neighborhood, what they perceive is what happened everywhere. Not one bit of scholarship, God. You know me, we covered hip hop everywhere. You know that the block you're on isn't the only block that exists. You know that just because you know, let's say 3 blocks in Harlem to the T, and they could be the hottest blocks, you might miss somebody that's incredible in that same neighborhood. That's bullshit.
So you're kumbaya. That's better. Kumbaya is better.
Kumbaya, because I deal with the black and the
That's better than being kumbaya. And
right.
I thought that the expression. I know there's another part of it that one of the guys revealed in Parliament. I have to remember what that was. But I thought Allah said if you want to see them come together. So what's that? Where does this fit into that conversation?
It fits in nowhere. It's crazy.
And they skipped the 7th degree to 114, right?
And God, I don't know.
They skipped the 7th degree
the 7th degree to 140, because God, I literally got told, I thought better of you because you taught so many of ours. Mind you, God, people ask me, oh, how many black Americans you taught? Man, God, you know it's too much. You can't count how many I taught. Any shade, anybody.
I just want to make
do I go to brothers and I go, yo, how many Puerto Ricans you taught? How many Latinos you taught? How many of the 4,400,000,000 that are not of the 17 million that you taught? God, it just sounds to me like as it expands, as we get more immigrants or whatever you want to call it, more of the people that are here that are not of the 17 million asserting themselves like the youth do, People don't like it. They're not ready to teach none of that. And I've been saying this for years, God. People don't know the 85 nature of the other 85. So they don't know how to teach. They don't know how to teach all the different 85.
Maybe it's because they're students, but they're not students enrolled. From what I understand, the protocol is that in order to become a student enrolled, you have to attend the parliament.
Yeah.
And maybe that's one reason why the parliament is empty, because we have so many students, but students are not enrolling themselves by coming to the parliament.
You know what, God? You make a great point, because when you go to the parliament, one of the major things you could say, "Oh, I don't know if I learned." You're always going to learn pedagogy. You're always going to learn the science of teaching. You're going to get somebody that is going to show you how to teach properly. Somebody that's going to tell you about teaching properly.
And the more people there, the higher the energy, the higher the frequencies, the higher vibration. I know that they're saying it goes out into, we shouldn't look at the auditorium, that it goes out into the cyberspace. We have all of these people out there. But when a television show is filmed, it's filmed in front of a live studio audience, because that gives the energy to the performers. So even if we are broadcasting, we need the energy of the live studio audience, so to speak, the live universal parliament, because we got students out there, but they're not students enrolled. They want to be students enrolled, they got to put their asses in them seats.
Word upon God.
Wisdom on the wisdom day.
That's right. That's right.
Your ways and actions are like those of a savage. You like those lines, right? You like those lines, right? You know who wrote them, right?
You're a pain in the ass, you know that? Yeah. Matt, you asked me, where do you think the division comes from? Never have I ever heard that Puerto Rico is a guest. These past couple of years becoming more common. All right, I'm going to go to that real quick, though, because it talks about division. And I don't want to keep things hip-hop here. It's just a great example and something that we have to deal with, though. But division, people dividing Puerto Ricans against and finding flaw, appealing to African Americans, very real sentiments and feelings, and saying, what have these people done because you've done so much for all humanity? That is a fact. And when you turn the tables, though, because African Americans are so dominant here and so crucial to this country, African Americans can never look outward and see anyone else. This white, black, brown, it don't matter. That has given them the service that they have given the world. They may not find it because they are the most mentally oppressed. People talk about them worse the most, all of that.
Real quick. Assuming I was born, I spoke about it in the parliament. Next parliament, activities in the gym for the babies. We're going to be bringing board games, dartboard, Monopoly, chess, checkers.
That sounds great.
Cards, and all that other stuff. So there's going to be stuff for the kids to do. So they might wind up playing board games if there's nothing to do, but we're going to have board games. So they won't be doing B-O-R-E-D games. They can do B-O-R-A-D games. B-O-A-R-D.
Yeah. That's peace, God.
Please. Get them off of them damn tablets. And
off
get
the
them into
tab.
the tactile world.
Word. It's really I saw someone quote the Crazy Legs interview incorrectly to me. Never got through the parts where Crazy Legs talks about how there is one demeaning and condescending dismissal of Puerto Ricans as if we didn't know the language and that we didn't understand anything. And we were total immigrants and raw hicks. We didn't know how to dress or do anything. This is so demeaning because the Puerto Ricans that make up the youth of the late 60s and early 70s are not first generation Puerto Ricans. They are second and third, and they know English very, very well already. You know, I think it's completely hackneyed, disrespectful, and condescending when the language goes there. And it's really funny. It's really funny. Like, I'm a third generation here. So I'm not even, I'm definitely not the first generation dealing with it a migrating parent that doesn't know English. I'm already third generation, you know. Oh, that's peace. That's peace. And so that's one debunk. But when I was in the media, this kind of division was commonplace. And why? Because the media was selling rappers. They were selling rappers. When you decide who goes on the front of the magazine, you think A-list versus B-list. You put a B-list rapper, your sales go down dramatically. Dramatically. It's not even a question, you know. You put MF Doom on the cover, and in 2005, like I was asking, you reduce your sales dramatically. Right? So the this division between Puerto Rican and Black American is not something that you were seeing when you're out in hip hop. For the people that are doing it, when I go out and I do hip hop, I don't see that. In fact, I even see white people that if they show and prove that they can do this, they do it. They got the guts, if they got the gall. And they what? They do it. It is more the difficulties. The difficulties talked about that Puerto Ricans had, that where it originates from, is because we're being led and we're being taught and miseducated by a media and corporatized mindset. People like Tariq and Lord Jamal, they are hustling, they are selling. And the best and most consistent way of selling hip hop is through what has been done through the music. Make it African American, deny everything else, push out. Deny everything else, push out. Okay? You have the consistency of all the other years. Like people tell me, these are the same people that tell me, look, black people made up rock and roll. You don't even know how they did that. Okay? That is an absolute fact. But I don't want to hear it from anybody unless they can explain to me how rock comes from the blues. Because they don't know. They don't know. If they can't explain to me saying jazz is a Black American art form created, if they can't explain to me the syncretism of all the music from that was in New Orleans, the Creole culture, the Latino culture, from the drumming and everything, how that's syncretized, then you don't know the genius of how that was created. You just know basic things. You just know basic conclusionary facts. And that impairs you when the neighborhood became blatantly different. Blatantly different. I just find it wild that that people that should know better are fooled so easily. But as far as this being something that seen as guests, Puerto Ricans have been stripped of the truth of what they have done for so long that what Crazy Legs did in continuing on and leading the Rocksteady crew and the whole Rocksteady crew with Barry Breaking, we were so brushed away that when Rocksteady crew comes on strong in the 90s, they come on so strong that it defies the simple story given when the music is sold, that it's Black American only. And this idea that this genre is coming out of a culture that is of the diaspora and not just Black Americans is hard to swallow. I keep hearing, they send me clips of Tariq saying, well, didn't Crazy Legs make up the windmill? Nah, they was doing that in Africa and stuff like that. Nobody at those times saw any of these YouTube clips of Africans dancing that people are sharing. The Nicholas brothers were not being played on TV. Their films were not being played on the television. The only source of information to the audience, those old films with the Nicholas brothers were not being played on the television regularly. Star Wars was. Bruce Lee was. Shaw Brothers. Bad scholarship because it sounds consistent. They made it up a long time ago. It comes also from the scholarship that I've talked about. Black scholarship had the great Black Books movement, and they stopped once the movement sufficiently and properly proved that the black man, ancient black man of Kemet, is the father of civilization, the founder. They cared not that many of the things that they founded were not as developed as they would be once the other original people that migrate from Africa, that set their place in stone in other places in China, Japan, the Mongolians, the Indians of India, and set something even more deeper than what it was founded as if that is never possible. It's like people telling me martial arts started with ancient Kemet and stuff. Until you find the proof, the details, the depth, the creative genius of the martial arts from China to Japan, even India, are their profound creations. They are their creations. I see people go, no, Bodhidharma made up Kung Fu. He made up every style. Bodhidharma isn't even known for that. So Bodhidharma gave Qigong, crucial to Kung Fu, but not its fighting arts. And yet, what Bodhidharma gave is absolutely necessary. So this division is something that has gone on forever. It goes on in the movies. To add the diversity of the original people, you haven't seen a movie that shows the diversity. No one's seen a movie that even comes close to capturing my experience. None. Not one. I appreciate, I enjoy. It has elements, but nothing even close. So when we deal with all this, though, we have to understand that this separation of original people is certainly of design. And it is something that has taken wonderful, immense root today. It leads me to think that black is the new white. A lot of these black is the new white. We worried about Trump and the mentality that he would have in spawning a hatred of exclusionism, of exclusionary measures from white folk, more so than ever before. And yet that's what we are getting from Black Americans. Exclusionary. They don't know anything. They completely 85. But now the 5%. So many of the 5% are some damn 85. It comes when you don't respect scholarship. People are funny, though. They go, Sunez, if they want to. They don't want to say it. They go, Sunez, you weren't there. I was there for 30 years of this. And the 20 years before is part of my early research with far more detailed interviews, not sound bites. I talk about up rocking, top rocking, those origins directly doing it. The exact same thing. Like not a little bit, not similar. The exact same style. He's got the exact same style done. I say it came from here 5 7 at the most years before. Spreads through all the boroughs through the biker gangs. And they say, no, we never seen that. But the dancers did. That's why all the breaking crews, every last one of them, nearly all of them, there's like maybe one or two that's not, are called rockers. They're all doing up rock, top rock. They're all doing jerks, freezes. Same way. The early B-boys that were black, like the Nigger Twins, they demeaned the brown and said they messed it up when they started going to the ground. And yet the ground, the down rock, is the significance, is the signature move of breaking. If you were in the early club dancing in the urban areas in the 70s, at the very beginning of hip hop, whether you were black, brown, white, purple, red, pink, orange, you were doing something like the hustle because you were dancing on disco beats. And the hustle's Puerto Rican dance. So Boricuas was somewhere here or there in the physical. And this is crucial to everything. I said this a million times, though. There's research everywhere. The works of Schloss, the works of Ned Sublet, right? So you could see the history of everything coming up there. People have a poor history of original people. It is a disgustingly poor history. So poor that now they're the indigenous only. They're not from Africa. They're not a syncretism of from Africa and indigenous that were here. They're just indigenous. This is poor scholarship. There's not one old Olmec head they found without a leather war army helmet, military helmet, as Ivan Van Sertima noted, showing that they're from Kemet. These are very early migrations, and they set up shop here. From Africa. People are wild. They say they want to deal with the knowledge, but they don't. They say they want to deal with this knowledge of self, be responsible for the whole world, but they don't want to be responsible. What they want to do is tell you that they are above you. They are superior to you. And damn it, if I'm the supreme being, whatever, I am superior to you. That is what they want to do. They don't want to be 5%. They want to be superior to other people and have people lick their boots, bow down to them, take a knee. That's not this knowledge. We're responsible for the whole planet. You don't like it, fix it. You can't teach them, you fail. You fail. People can't teach the other original people. I don't like their culture. I don't know this. I don't know that. I don't know the language. That's not on them. That's on you. You're the 5%. You failed. And then you say what? It's wild what I see. I'm telling you, see, I don't want to say it though, but you know why? See, I'm going to go into that, right? I said black is the new white. You know why? I've been doing this. This has been community service. I have taught people that have nothing to do with this knowledge, and they come here and they're not ready for it. They don't want it, but they need help. This is community work we do here. This is the 25th year I've been doing this. Some of my family members were looking through these comments, seeing what I was dealing with, all of that. And they said, you do the community work though. When you go back to this building, this is what they asked me. 85, my family, they love me. Are you safe doing this work here? That's what they asked me. say I better be. People with the knowledge talking to me like they're going to take my head off. People quoting degrees on me, right? What is Sunez doing? Telling lies, stealing the culture, telling lies, stealing the culture, and trying to master the original man, because we are not the same. I got this from the 5% this entire week. No 85, no blind, deaf, and dumb people that just don't know, talking slick. 5%. They don't want to be 5%, God. They don't want to be 5%. They don't want to teach all the human families. They don't want to say, listen, we got 17 million, but look, there's a lot of the other 4,400,000,000. Now, what the hell do I say to them? We have to figure it out. I have to read some history books. I can't just know about slavery, transatlantic slavery. I have to know about the coolies and how difficult and how near slavery that was. How the ships that brought coolies here from India were packed sometimes even tighter than the slave ships. So there's oppression that might have just been just as horrible. Peace. Right? So these are things that I had to deal with. So if I say black is the new white, I see brothers I know, brothers that I'm going to say it straight. When they made product to sell, they created product, I supported and bought. When I made triple the amount of product to sell that they made, peace, I didn't get one sale with them. But they're the first ones to, oh, Fat Joe must be our enemy, though. But you know what Fat Joe was doing when he was in New York? You know what Fat Joe was doing in New York? Fat Joe was in the middle of the crowd, getting no hype, no shame, no fame. When we were marching for Anthony Baez, we walked all of the Bronx through the bridge into Manhattan, protesting, getting stopped by the police mid-fold, being barricaded and antagonized by the police. It's when you do these marches, when you march like this, you feel weak. I even said it in a song, talked about this in a song. I felt weak. I felt I could be killed at any moment here. Fat Joe wasn't on the front lines, comfortable. For many of those blocks that we walked, he was right next to me, and I was talking to him. I asked him why he's not on the front lines. He said, listen, I don't want no shine. I just want to add on. I don't like any of Fat Joe's music. I listened to the new album. I haven't really cared for his music for too long. It's commercial. It has everything bad that Miami often gives you. That only Thurston Howell was able to break the spell. My low-life family was able to break the spell. I gotta say. But if you're gonna talk about his New York history, I want to see that you've done what he's done. Community stores. I know, because I bought FJ 560. Who knows about FJ 560? The shop that was around the way. Anybody want to email me, Matt? You can email me at Sunez97. Let me write the email here. Let me look for some of these things. Catch up as best as you can. Give me on double speed. All right, let me go here. There's a lot of good comments here. Peace, Mr. G1. Peace to God. He said, what FBA forgets is that the wilderness of North America isn't exclusive only to the USA, and that it also includes so-called Canada, Mexico, and the Caribbean. They are original people too, and they have been totally just disavowed here. Right? So if I build in regard to your statement earlier, who according to these critics qualifies as original? Did Allah not teach the unification of seeds which are one? It is based on skin tone, land of birth. You know the critics, they're all original people. They're making up divisions, you know. G, when you said we have a united struggle with the same presence, although there may be whatever cultural differences of division. Hip hop's bronze culture, the Ghetto Brothers helped with the Gang Peace Treaty, which allowed the further cultivation of hip hop. Absolutely, right? And they were born equal. The major death was the death of Black Benji, a Black American brother who was peaceful and was gunned down. And that was a turning point. All right, Chad, peace, Chad. You said whoever decided to try to debate you about music is crazy. I don't know more to scholar of all genres. I try. Again, the reason I know about this is because I write about this and because I'm always trying to research more. I'm always working to learn more. You know? And I've been blessed to be with a lot of musicians. And the musician story is not the same. It is not the same. You know? You see, the Black American musicians got into it easier, but they didn't notice how difficult it was for the Puerto Ricans to get into the music industry because it was so difficult for them to make music once they got in. Okay? But when the culture is lived outside and the musicians are out there with everyone involved, they all know. People like, when you see Elo Jamal make a horrible song defending the way he's excluding us incorrectly and trying to justify, it was ridiculous how he's trying to justify. He said, the bars are so whack too. He says the earth is 93 million miles away. So it's, well, how we get sunlight that far away and the rest of space isn't lit up? Not knowing that the light travels in a beam that's straight. And when there's no atmosphere, the particles don't travel. They go straight. Simple science. But these are the fools. They want to debate Neil deGrasse Tyson, but they don't know no music. I saw one person debate me about, oh, well, just because Jimmy Castor used timbalas and stuff, he's black, so he could use anything from Africa. But timbalas are made by original African-rooted brothers, but it was made up in the 1900s in Cuba. Timbalas weren't made in Africa. The congas that are used in Puerto Rico are different than the congas originally from Africa. The bomba and the rumba and the plena, they're already mixed in with other aspects of indigenous culture and the Spaniard forms of music, which is like the danza and other elements that give it a more structure that doesn't exist in the African rhythms. Just like jazz musicians did, they added a European structure to it. It's not the bed, it's not the foundation, but the European structure of song is also blended in as part of Black genius. People think Black genius is just, oh, look, it popped out of thin air. That's not true. It's not the way it goes. And see, Chad, I won't debate people like Tariq or Jamal. I saw Tariq debate Dr. Derek Colon, who made a great documentary, a documentary I share, and people refuse to watch it. They go, it's a joke. Dr. Colon debated Tariq Nasheed and made incredible points. And Tariq Nasheed just said, that doesn't matter. Nobody cares about those original crews or what you're saying. That's debating. Like you said, nobody cares about what you're saying. He gives references. He gives cross references of individuals, anecdotal testimonials that are cross referenced. meaning more than one testimonial. Doesn't matter. Nobody cares. Yells over him, over the top of him. I'm not debating that. I'm not debating people that's going to yell over my head or just disavow stuff. If I quote, let's say, a book that was extremely well researched in the field, like Joseph G. Schloz's Foundation, has people like Alien Ness and Popmaster Fable, tons of great b-boys giving their insights in history, the history of up rock, top rock. They're just gonna shrug and discount it. Real field research, documented, discount it. Okay. People try to tell me, oh, black people didn't dance in the Palladium. That's a gay place. Countless interviews with Eddie Palmieri, the legendary pianist composer of salsa, begs to differ. I used to be with Allah B, and he was obsessed with dancing at the Palladium, 1964. Dancing salsa. People want to talk about what they know. They don't know anything. I'm not debating people that don't know music, that don't know culture, right? It's all hype. People's experiences, people's history, self-I-build. We have such a poor history. Like when I see people tell me, this is, I didn't hear this weekend. I've been arguing that all of 2024. It's why my book's kind of late. My next book is kind of late. Because I'm having to defend a history that is correct. And I hear people discount reggae and go, oh, reggae, they're just doing what Black Americans do. No. Black American soul music is what inspired them and all that they were listening to. And when they finally got to record Jamaican musicians, because they weren't, that's why. They made up all of the wonderful root genres that lead to the peak of reggae and that wonderful umbrella that is reggae. The ska, the rock steady, the roots reggae, my favorite, the dancehall, right? The toasting, right? The speaker systems, the early history of reggae, and I have books to prove this for people who did real field research, black and white. The reggae reality of its origins are very, very much like hip hop. Very, very much like hip hop. Park jams, DJs battling it out, dangerous neighborhoods, and the outgrowth of musicians as the genre develops into song structure, just like hip hop, to then be recorded. The possibilities, what people don't give her credit for is that the possibilities of a new culture come with the Jamaican peoples. And if you don't respect all of the original peoples, then a good scholar never asks those questions and never sees the possibilities. If your scholarly method is black people don't need the Jamaicans, so if Jamaicans did something or Puerto Ricans did something, it doesn't matter because we would have made it anyway. So now even if they want to kind of admit that we did things and created, they want to dismiss it. That's bad sociology too. If Toni Morrison writes great novels, Alice Walker wrote great novels, James Baldwin, I don't say, well, it doesn't matter because they got that from people writing great novels and we don't need it anyway because white people would have written the great novels anyway about all types of things anyway. Do people even say something stupid like that? But they say stupid things like that to me to discount Puerto Ricans. The truth is that every original person, the culture that they come out of, is crucial to how the 5% will develop in the future. Everybody knows, and it is a damn fact, that for the 5% to know more about the Latino, a lot of that came through me. A lot of that came through me. They didn't know shit about it. People still quote my piece, The Misunderstanding of the Understanding Seed, from 2000. What was I writing? 2001? 2000? Pretty sure. Excuse me. I wrote that in 2001. Right? Let me read these comments, though. Puerto Ricans, aka Puerto Rico, grew up with Fly Brothers. Black Americans, Jamaicans, Haitians, Panamanians, Guyanese. It was all love on the block. We looked out for each other. Word is bomb. Chad, you said only in the library you see Nicholas Brothers. I'm saying though, right? We see Nicholas Brothers now. You do research and you see, wow, these guys are amazing. But Brothers was not like seeing that and saying, oh, I want to try that. Just like all the early breakers, they didn't see capoeira. Okay? And I'm sorry, capoeira was not being taught out here. The major martial arts that were being taught though were karate and taekwondo in the hood. Right? Some more Muay Thai and some Kung Fu. But it was mainly karate and the depth of that, the many branches, and a lot of Taekwondo. See, yeah, okay. G1. Separation of the devil is created. One of the devil's greatest tactics is divide and conquer. You see it? G1, you said, I understand the grounds for the exclusion on both sides of the so-called FBA tether breakpoint, and know that it's due to both sides being divided from a lack of knowledge or education themselves. Yeah, absolutely. Chad, wild style graffiti was created. The actual wild style, probably one of the most signature forms of graffiti, was invented by a Boricua. Okay, I think he was Boricua and Italian. That's right. They came before Columbus. We'll talked about the Olmec heads and the origins. Self-I build. The disdain probably been festered for a long time. Now's the time they deem it ready to rear its head. Yeah. Very Trumpy. That's why I said they're doing exactly what Trump is doing with whites. They're doing it themselves. And that's why black is the new white. The last presidency, we saw white people rear their head. Now we see black Americans rear their head in frustration. And no smoke for white people. 5% have told me we are not the same and said the lessons were wrong because white people never did anything bad to me. It was only black people. It was only other people like me, my people. People like me, Latinos, brown, Asian, whatever it is. If white people never did anything wrong to you, then you are not close to the action. I'm gonna say that again. If white people never directly did anything racist to you or demeaned you or took something from you, and you older, then you are not around the action. You are living in the ghetto. You are in the ghetto of the mind. And most likely the area where all the oppression is done secondhand. Absentee ownership. Right? Let me read these comments because I'm going to leave soon. I could only be here an hour. I'm going to leave at the build hour. We have so much to talk about, though. And planning and everything. I would like to hear people's plans. If people let me know over time in the comments or an email to me, let me know if you want to go through the health protocols, different training protocols for this small amounts of time, large amounts of time. I'll even give some beginner martial arts programs. Okay. But I want to go through all of these. But whatever you want, I will do it if you really want it. Okay. All right. So Matt, just email me and we will build. Okay. Rome Fetty, yeah, proper education always corrects errors. We would hope, right? So the difficulty is in properly educating. Thank you, Rome. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Since 2024, last year was about holding my square, you know? And you'll see it at the City of God's concert that I hosted. That's on Allah School in Mecca page. Go check that out. It's a great concert. It was an honor to host it. The name of the documentary I mentioned was called The Rubble Kings. Rubble Kings. Okay, because they came out of the rubble. Okay, it's a must watch. G1, he doesn't remember Prince Marky D. He doesn't remember DJ Talim, who's a DJ before he was rapping. That was one of his dancers in all these videos. Right? That is Boricua and still doing it today. Peace to the God, DJ Talim. Tracy 168, thank you. That's the inventor of Wild Style, if I remember correctly. Halftime. Remember, it's not necessary to start with knowing cipher code. No. That's some Lord Jamal, though. I hope you're just saying that facetiously. Not mathematics does not start with cipher. It does not start with cipher halftime. Okay? What has and what always will be is what starts. What has been and what always will be is what starts everything. What is knowledge? Okay? Cipher is a conduit that continues everything. One is knowledge. Okay? G1 says, crazy how much these two topics are doing so well at causing confusion division. Because nobody knows anything. I've been writing about music for years, though, in massive detail. Nobody follows anything. No one cares. Yeah, Daddy U-Roy. That's right. All right. All right. Nowadays, all I hear is a lot of people talking. They don't know shit. Bertrand, that's right. I can't disagree. Bertrand said Bay don't have the smoke when they go on vacation to PRD. No, they don't. And they don't have that smoke with the beautiful Puerto Rican. If a woman comes up to her and is beautiful and they step and she's like, well, I'm Puerto Rican or well, I'm Jamaican. So I don't know if you want to. They want all of that. They want all of that. You know? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have the misunderstanding of the understanding seed, digitally written down. So I can share that with you. I gotta look for it. But email me. Self-ability. You said people are saying original people nothing have no connection to Africa. The holiday makes us sense of the scientific architectural literature that points to Africa as the origin. I have no idea. How do I make sense out of something that's wildly wrong? 730, a whole lot of this is just some interwebs-ish that they simply couldn't and cannot stand with any but opinions in person in any structured debate, nor even academic primary sources. Yeah, no primary sources. No, none. Absolutely. I got you. Archaeological. Right? Wild stuff. Matt, do you think brothers like Jaws causing trouble to conflate the FBA trial? I hear the two easy. I think so. I think it's just a hustle grab. I don't think he's any kind of genius with this. If somebody goes, look, the earth, look at it, just doesn't look right. The way you look up in the sky. I mean, it's baby talk. It's baby talk. Because you at least do the research to see. Look, people have answers for this stuff. He's not disagreeing with the science that goes behind explaining any of this stuff. He doesn't even know the science that explains it. He goes, well, this doesn't feel right to me. I don't really care about your feelings, right? Just because they use an eye test, they'll say, I didn't see any Puerto Ricans there. Not every Puerto Rican looks like me. That's a fact. And it's so funny that everybody thinks so. I don't know where the Colon and Nasheed debate is. It's not even worth watching. What's worth watching is Dr. Colon's documentary about the Latin breakdown, because he gives a great history of b-boying, the Latin breakdown. You really start to learn our history of percussion really, really well with that documentary. Right? Is the one you mentioned with the brother giving facts, Tariq being dismissive. Yeah, Dr. Derek Colon. Stealth Vanta, you said Puerto Rico's richest in unities and grand innovators in North America due to the fact Puerto Rico, Jamaica, and North America. Boy, if people use that kind of logic, it would be so simple this world, right? But as a finality here, 80 blocks of Tiffany's, freshest kid, countless docs and works seen, all of a sudden forgotten plus ignored, word, put it out without question. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, blocks of Tiffany's, freshest, yeah, it's crazy. I want to make one announcement before we leave. This is very important though, okay? The God Day Son, he totally forgot to tell me to do this, but I didn't forget. Fridays, I believe they start tomorrow, so look for it. Right? If you're here, if you're around the school, come through, call up the school, 212-665-4175, 212, let me write this, Allah School in Mecca's number. I'm gonna write it here. 665-4175, okay? This is what I want you to remember. You see if it's happening tomorrow. The God Day Son, he's the one that brought me to Allah School. He's my day zero. He's teaching a class. He's starting to teach a new civilization class called Builders Build, the Art of Creation. That's the name of the class, Art of Creation. It is based on supreme mental health and attainment of creative wealth through the knowledge of self. Dayson is a great creator. Me and him have written for years, right? We were the two 5%ers that were in the Source magazine as editors when he was editor-in-chief and I was news editor. We have been everywhere, okay? So when he talks about creating, the art of creation through the knowledge of self, it's going to be a great course. It's going to be Fridays, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. here at the Law School of Mecca, okay? And they should be starting tomorrow. Call up 212. Boy, I wrote that number all wrong. I got to get my keyboard fixed. 665 4175. That was terrible. All right. Stealth, you said FBA spoke half breed with Guyanese roots. That's just comical. It's crazy. It's just crazy. You know what I mean? And the 5% just falling for it, though. You know? And it shows me how people have not really taught anybody. You know what I mean? And I appreciate that, CIYs. You said in case no one told you lately you're loved and valued in the city. Thank you. I get a lot of love. You know what I'm saying? I just never got that much racism before from my nation. You know, and it was appalling and it was disgusting, and it was so based on being misinformed that like people are so vehement with so little musical knowledge, and it's called what? It's called the Latin Breakdown. Okay, but if there's also an interview I did with him, so if let me see if I can find these links. Try to find them now. Mind you, one of the great parts of the Latin Breakdown documentary I've shared here, Jimmy Castor himself says that he got the breakdown, the timbale breakdown straight from the Cubans. And the Cubans invented the timbales. And he's giving credit for making his classics. Yo, so if I will be careful who's offering me kombuchas. And I'm about to go buy a kombucha right now. That's where I go. After here, I go shop at Trader Joe's down up the block, and I go home. Also, to check out, I want to see if I can find. Let me see. Trying to find this other link. By the way, little things like fun facts, like people always talk about, oh, first DJ that leads into hip hop is Disco King Mario. But Disco King Mario's main man that was always with him, that was influential as well with him, was Tex Hollywood, and Tex Hollywood was Puerto Rican. This is what I'm talking about. All right, I'm gonna put this other link. This is the link to my interview that I did with Derek Colon. He interviewed me, and I'm gonna add. It's on Allah School in Mecca page, the City of Gods. So the whole concert is finally up, All right, let's see if we find this. All right, so guys, take down this link. The chat should be able to duplicate themselves. I keep it so it comes up. And yeah, see, G1, that's a real thing. I made that clear a lot of times, though, if Black Americans use the real emotional plea that they have been scorned by other original people, that's a fact, But it's funny that in this situation, it has not been the case. It's the opposite. Not the opposite, but it's actually happening. There has been a unity, there has been a camaraderie, and it's being dismissed. But guys, check those videos out. Let me know what you think. Email me, and if you can, if the God is, I don't know if the God is going to broadcast it, but he'll definitely be here teaching this class, the art of creation. It's going to be great because listen, Day Sun is my day zero. He's the one that brought me here. He's the one that named this course the Peace Course, Political Education and Civilization Enrichment. And the concept of creating is something that we have talked about for years as writers and as creators. So this is something that is very dear to us, and he's a master. All right. So with that said, I'm gonna let everybody go. Peace.